Welcome to DZR's The Armory. This is where we're going to take an in-depth look into the division, the gear, the guns, and the strategies you need to take back New York. I'm your host, Hoagie. This is actually a special edition. We're not going to be talking about strategies as much or gear sets, but we're titling this the special edition, Keep Your Chin Up. Now, like many division players, you guys have heard the news in the last couple of weeks about 1.4 and what that means. We know that survival, which we are expecting rather soon, is getting pushed off until probably November. And they're working on the now infamous, I would say, 1.4 update. And so we're going to take a few minutes. Origami is here. What's up, Origami?
How's it going? And by infamous, you mean more than famous, of course.
Yes. And Captain is here with us too.
Hey, how's it going?
They're giving me a hard time about my word usage. It's been an interesting night already with our recording. But hey, we just wanted to connect with you guys and talk with you guys about 1.4 a little bit. You know, most of us know the information that's going to happen. You know, survival is getting pushed off. 1.4 is kind of the new 1.3. 1.3 was the big weapon balancing that changed the game. 1.4 is them putting the pause on the button saying, what's happening with this game is not good. We need to do something, because if we don't, it's going to be a major problem. We can't just, it's like they're going in and fixing the foundation of the game. So as they build on, the new content is going to be really good content, hopefully. Origami, as you've been reading the information, what's been in kind of your sense as we're moving towards 1.4?
Mm-hmm. I think you nailed it. I think I think the folks at Massive have taken heed. They've taken notice that not only is the community saying the game has some real problems and not just cosmetic annoyances, but truly fundamental problems, and those need to get fixed, and they need to get fixed at the foundation and not just as an add-on. And I think they're really taking it seriously. You can hear it certainly in Hamish and Yannick's state of the game. You can see it in some of their actions. There's more information sharing going back and forth. They're flying people out to Sweden. This is a serious issue for the gaming community. They've certainly have lost some players. The players who have stayed are largely frustrated, but really want this to be the game that we've all dreamed about, and I think it will be, and it can be, but there's some big changes, some foundational changes that have to come out of this, and it's not going to be a matter of nerf the smart cover or nerf the sentry shotgun or buff SMGs again, or all of those cosmetic things. Even if they affect your gameplay, they're still being layered on something else that's not quite working, and you can't do it that way. Where I come from, we have a phrase called squeezing the balloon, and a lot of
this is a kid-friendly show. Let's not go into that.
No. Okay, so if you take a balloon, this is a good analogy, and we use it in my workplace as well. But if you have a problem with a balloon, one of those long balloons that they make the animals out of, and you squeeze it in the middle, you're going to have all this air go to the ends, right? So you're fixing a problem in one place. It's going to create new problems on the ends, and up till this point, that's been sort of what's happened. Is as each thing gets changed or adjusted or balanced or nerfed or buffed, something else breaks. And so what we're seeing in this 1.4 push is to say, let's take a step back, let's figure out at the core what the problems are, fix the core problems, and build this back up to the game that's the potential it has to be.
Hey, Captain, one of the things that they've been getting a little flack on is how much they're asking of the community. They say, hey, we want your help, we want to fly you out to Sweden. And you have a bunch of these people saying, like, wait, you guys can't do your jobs enough to be able to do this yourself? Where do you stand on that, on them getting, flying people out to Sweden, all the different community help, it seems like, that they're asking for to try and fix this game? Are you more say, hey, get as much community help as you need, whatever, or on the camp of that, what is wrong with them? If they can't figure out the problem, this is not going to be a good product at the end of the day.
I think the choice and the decision is awesome. I think it's great to ask people to come to tell us what your issues are, to tell them what your problems are. Because, I mean, Hamish and Yannick, I mean, they know because they play the game. They know the problems in the game, but they may not know all of them. They have a lot of gaming time, but the guys in the community, I mean, the hundreds, thousands, millions of players of this game, and especially the ones that still love it, really have a lot of input to give them. And that's why I'm glad that the Survey Monkeys come out asking about the skills. I'm looking forward to the next ones to see what we're doing. I am a little worried that they're going to nerf my smart cover because I really like it. But I think it's a great step forward. I think that it's a good idea. I think that it's the right time. Actually, probably a little bit late, but it was the right decision to hold off on survival and hold off and fix the game. I mean, fix the base, fix the problems we're having, fix the micro freezes, which get you killed in the dark zone, fix the skills getting locked up so you have to die and then get revived from nothing. I mean, get these things fixed. These are game breaking, and I think they weren't intentional, but they do need to be fixed because quality of life is a big thing.
Yeah. It's really quite interesting. I feel like the Swedish 3-week vacation has been getting more hate mail than Donald Trump recently. I mean, we know just as they were taking this mandatory vacation from their work, the game just started to slowly die during that time. And it was pretty surprising to me, the fact that we've had some of these issues, but just because there hasn't been communication for those few weeks, they were losing players and the community was really getting down. And so it's a really interesting process to see. I've never walked through a process in a game like this. I've never been playing a game where they've gone back to the bare bones and are trying to fix it. And so I'm really interested to see what they have, because let's not joke ourselves. I think the bones of this game are really awesome. I think the guns feel good most of the time. The environment is beautiful. It's a fun game to play. The explosions are awesome looking. I mean, the bones of this game are really awesome, but there's all sorts of these issues coming up. And even things like how bullet spongy guys are, or HVT loot and how we're building and all these different things. It just goes to show that building a game is a very complicated endeavor. Origami, as we're looking forward to what's ahead, we know that we're not going to get any answers really soon. I'm guessing that this is going to come out on this Tuesday, and so state of the game may have happened, but we're still not going to have any answers. There might be some general ideas, but if you were in Sweden right now, what are some of the things that you would be throwing in the ring and saying, hey, this would be really helpful? I would say beyond the obvious, like, let's fix the bug of me getting stuck on the ladder, or fix the heal delay bug. Like, those are the obvious ones. What are some things in the foundation of the game that you would want to look at? And obviously I know this is a huge question that we are probably woefully underprepared for and underqualified to speak at. But, I mean, we're players of the game. We've all put in a bunch of time in the game, and we enjoy this game. So what do you think?
I would take it back a step further beyond what do we think needs to get fixed, and I would say what do we think the problems really are? Because I don't think there's a lot of agreement even within the community on what the problems are. We have a room running in our Discord for a division improvements discussion, largely around what do we think the real problems of the game are? How do those get fixed by Massive? And if they can't get fixed by Massive, what do we do about it? What are the make or breaks? What can the community do? And I think that's a conversation that has to happen in Sweden to say, not just how do we fix smart cover so that it works better? How do we fix the griefing situation in the dark zone? Like, a lot of those questions, we really have to understand where the limitations are in terms of fixing those and what the unintended consequences are. And so I would say certainly, the obvious fix the skill glitches and all of that is true, and that should entirely be on the table. But we, I think, need to fundamentally understand who is playing this game and why, and really tailor back to them. And so you have a PvP environment that sort of works, but not really. And the reason it doesn't work is because each of the various groups that are participating in it are wanting something different, and none of them are quite getting what they want. So you have the PvE group. They don't really want to be involved in it at all, but they have to because they're told that the DZ has the best loot. So that's got to get addressed. And maybe it's a separate PvP arena. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a retooling of where can the PvE players go to get the experience they want? Where can the PvP players go to get the experience they want? And I think the Dark Zone is this fantastic social experiment, and I'm one of the people who is really sold on it, even in its current state, because I kind of enjoy the psychopathy of that space, but it definitely does have to get fixed for a lot of players in ways that are conflicting with each other. So I'm not sure where the solution lies, but I think that's the kind of conversation they need to be having for sure.
Captain, anything on your wish list going forward?
For me, I'm not so worried about some of the little things like the weapons floating or anything like that. I mean, I kind of like the way that the Dark Zone is working, except for the PVEs and the NPCs and the griefing. That's my biggest issue with it. But the PvP guys, they didn't scale the way they should have. It seems like once you got to 30, 1 to 30 was great. It was leveled the way it should have been. But once you got over 30, between the normal, the hard, the challenging, and the heroic, it just got progressively more difficult, even to the point where it was... they're a little bit too difficult, I would say, maybe in the heroics than they should be, if in the same scale of things. So I'm hoping that gets fixed, and I'm hoping that the balancing between the weapons, the damage, the toughness, and all of that gets leveled out. That's I know that's not really specific, but I'm really hoping that the gameplay itself gets down to actually working the way that they intended it to work.
Nice. I think those are great. I think for me, I think one of the toughest things I see, we've talked about it before, is that it's really hard to build the build that you want. Between getting the loot that you want and making it do what you want, it's just very difficult. And so I think it'd be great for them to start addressing that. We're going to talk about what we're going to do in the meantime up to 1.4. One of the things I did is I've actually picked up Destiny for the first time. Now, I'm not going to compare the two games because those games are not similar at all. Let's just say that right away. Destiny does have a good job of giving the loot that makes it feel like you're progressing. The Division just needs to figure that side of things out for me. And so that's getting better loot. That is also being able to use that loot effectively. And so I would say another part is the inventory management. If I could have one thing in the Division, it would be a companion app for me to look through my inventory and to do things with it when I'm not in game.
Yes.
One of the things I love about the game is that the gear sets are very complex. There's a lot of things going on, and I like that. I'm okay with that. I want to break out my spreadsheet to be able to talk about what sets I want to use and how I can help myself in these different areas. But if I can only use that for game time, that really sucks. I only have I have about probably 10 to 12 hours a week of game time. If I need to take an hour and a half of that time, that's a big chunk of my time. I don't want to be using my playtime to run through my inventory. If I could do that elsewhere, that'd be super helpful. That'd give me more time to get in the game and actually play this game that I really enjoy and I want to play. And so that might be my biggest thing. I will say this. I think I'm optimistic that they're going to be able to do something to fix this game. And why, you might ask, is I think they did a great job with 1.3 balancing the weapons. And if that's the same kind of thought pattern and process that they're going to go through with the game, I think obviously the whole game is more complicated. But if that's the kind of process they're going to put in and work through, I think there's a really good chance that this 1.4 patch is going to really turn the game around and lay the great foundation for this gaming community going forward.
I agree.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I love the comment about the companion app. That is one thing I would absolutely love because I've got too much inventory.
Yeah. Captain, do you have anything else to add?
No, I like what you've said. I'm totally on board. I'm waiting for the rebalance. I'm so excited, but in the meantime, I just want to make sure that we're all paying attention. Try those different things. Try those different builds. I mean, there's plenty to do between now and the time it drops. There's plenty of builds that we've got just sitting in our stash that we can put together and Frankenstein together. Try those odd things. If you're not feeling challenged, try something that you don't normally do. And I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot of fun. Me personally, I love the challenge. Try to put something together, make it viable, see if it's going to work.
Nice. Hey, Origami, between now, we don't know when 1.4 is coming out. It's going to be October sometime. My guess is probably the beginning of the second or third week of October. What are you going to be doing until then?
I'm going to be playing The Division. I know that that's not the answer that everyone will give, and I think that there's a lot of things that can be done. I would say that number one, I'm looking for some balance with my time. I certainly have some other life events coming up. I'm getting married in a couple weeks, so
hey.
That's going to take a little of my game time away. I promised that it would, so I probably should hold that one up. I'm playing a couple other games. I spent about a few hours playing the Battlefield beta. We have a group in the Discord that's playing Ark and getting a settlement together in that game. But my heart and soul is still, from a gaming perspective, it's in the Division. This is a game that has problems, but it's got a game that's got potential, and it is a game that already works if you have the right perspective about it. And I think my focus for the next few weeks is going to be to play the game, to use my time to try things that I haven't tried before, things like see what I can do with a Nomad build, just to have some fun with it. I'm using an alt in the Dark Zone, which has been the smartest decision I ever made about PvP in this game, because I don't have to worry about my XP. I don't have to worry about my funds. I don't have to worry about my loot. I can just go in, I can farm for a while, and if I run into rogues, I can go after them, or I can run, and if I feel like it, I can go rogue myself. So leveling your alts is a really, really good idea. I know several other YouTubers out there have suggested similar things. A lot of them have said stay out of the Dark Zone. I disagree with that. I think the Dark Zone is, not only is it fun if you're on an alt and you have nothing to lose, but it also has gotten much better. We had a group the other day that I wasn't able to get in on, but there was a 15-person squad on the Xbox side from our Discord that ran the Dark Zone for a solid 22 hours.
Oh my God.
Server, and owned the server because it was dead. It was an empty server except for DZR members, and it was fantastic. And big shout out to Hellraiser and Hell's Lady and several others that were
awesome.
Running that and just switching off and keeping.
That's amazing.
It was great, because what's happened is we are no longer in summer, which means the people who are most likely to cause the problems for you in the Dark Zone now have curfew, because they have to get up in the morning and start 6th grade.
And we're not
Right.
we're not talking about parents.
Exactly. And so the Dark Zone has become a much more viable place to be. I'm seeing even some of our saltiest members about the Division sucking it up a little bit and getting into the Dark Zone and getting some good loot. And yeah, you win some and you lose some, and yeah, you still run into some rogues sometimes, but it's overall a much cleaner place to be. And there are certainly ways to get around some of the other problems that you run into. And in fact, we are actually setting up a squad, the DZR Wrecking Crew. We are piloting it on the Xbox side, but hope to roll it out to the other platforms if it proves to be successful. But basically what we've done is we've taken a dozen of our heavy hitters in the PvP world and people who enjoy the PvP and enjoy the rogue hunting, and we are taking squads of people into the Dark Zone who don't like that or aren't used to it or keep getting wrecked in the Dark Zone, and we're teaching them how to get by, and not just by min-maxing your sentry gear, but by playing with a squad and playing tactically and paying attention to the map and looking for your egress routes and sort of all of the things that can make you a better player in the Dark Zone. We're taking on as a sort of formalized project to make that fun, because it can be fun, and the Dark Zone gets a bad rap. It's rightfully so at times, but there's lots of fun to be had there, and we're taking it on.
I'll tell you what, I've had a blast since we started doing that. I've had a fantastic time doing that because we're going in there. We're going a couple of skill builds and a couple of DPS. So we're going in, we're prepared, we're working as a squad with the tactics and the composition of our team, and it's just, it works great together. I mean, just figuring out which tactics there are to use with the skills and the DPS you have, depending on your builds, it's one of the things that we are really breaking down and making user-friendly for our community.
Yeah. Hey, that's awesome. It's the Division DZR Boot Camp.
Exactly.
And that's awesome. It's going to be exciting to see how this community sticks together. And you pulled out something that even as we're moving forward in the game, not just 1.4, but that team composition and squad tactics is going to be very interesting to see as it develops down the road. Hey, Captain, between now and 1.4, what's on your plate? What are you thinking about doing?
I'm putting together builds that nobody ever really has tried before. I tried an Alpha Bridge Nomad and it didn't quite work for me. Not enough DPS for me to take advantage of that 20% health on kill. But put that Alpha Bridge with some Predator and it works great. Put that Alpha Bridge with some Tacticians and it works great. So that's my skill, and that's what I'm taking into the Dark Zone, so I can complement Origami and Scribs and whoever else we run with. So I got the skills, they bring the DPS, everything works great. I want to get everybody else up, make sure that we're all using the same tactics in the Dark Zone, and go in and just tear some stuff up.
Awesome. As for me, division-wise, I'm going to be... I'm not really running Underground right now because I want to save that Underground rank for after 1.4. I think I'm going to work on some alts. I only have 2 characters right now, so I'll probably jump in and try and get those other alts up. Also, another thing I'll be doing is I'll just be gathering resources. I'm about, Phoenix credits are pretty easy to get, but a night or two of running and you could boost it up to the cap just so they're sitting around ready when 1.4 comes out, because I think we're going to get new blueprints. I think we're going to get new things in the vendor. I think we might even be able to use the Phoenix credits in different ways. And so that's something I'm keeping my eye on. I'm also playing some other games. I just talked about I picked up Destiny. So I'm my brothers, Cowboy Doug and Danthrax, have been trying to get me playing Destiny for over a year now. So I'm picking that up, playing a little bit. I might play Uncharted. Haven't played that before. I'm really excited about that. But I am very excited about 1.4 because, like I said, and I think a lot of us agree, that this game has good bones. We just need to, or they just need to fix some of the outside stuff on it. And this could become a really awesome game that I think we're going to enjoy for a long time.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing I would add too, as something to do, we've tossed this around a little bit in our Discord, and I am planning on starting. Is there are a lot of people who are just now getting into the game, and if we leave those people to the internet will tell them that they are stupid and the game is dead. And
yes, we're talking about you, Reddit.
Yeah, Reddit especially, but you'll see it on YouTube, you see it throughout the internet, and there are people who just spent the money on this game within the last 6 weeks, and they're out there on their own just trying to figure out how to not have a wasted experience. And so, one of the things we're talking about doing is starting to take our characters, mains and alts, and go into safe houses and find random people, go run a mission with them. We have a lot of veteran players. We have a lot of new players. We make it a priority at DZR to level people up, to help them out, to get them some better gear. But there are all these people that we aren't touching yet because they haven't found our community. But that's no reason for them to not get the help. And so I think that obviously people who listen to this podcast care about this game. You wouldn't be listening if you didn't. This is way too wonky for people who think the game is truly dead. So what I would say to the listeners, and certainly things that I happen to be doing, are getting into those safe houses. Find that person who's looking like their gear score is a little bit lower than yours, or their level's a little bit lower than yours. Link up with them and take them on a run. And, don't go DZ on them if you're concerned about matchmaking, but that in-game matchmaking can be useful, and it most certainly can help not only grow our community, but grow the gaming community as a whole, and really continue the work that we've already been doing on making a positive gaming experience that's very collaborative. I mean, I think it's been such a success story for the DZR, and there are other groups out there that are doing similar things. I've been talking to some of the Dads of the Division group and some others that are really
Dads of Destiny, you mean?
Or Dads of Destiny. Yeah, well, they're dads of all games now.
Oh.
But there are good groups out there that are trying to do the right thing and keep this alive, and I think we ought to be doing that with our time. So
awesome. Hey guys, it was great to talk to you. Listeners, keep going. Stay strong. Okay, we have a little time before 1.4. Enjoy the game. If you want to go check out other games, that's fine too. Stay connected with DZR. We obviously have a bunch of different podcasts coming out on the DZR channel, including this one and the JUI crew and Checkpoint and Chill and some other ones. So enjoy those. Send us emails if you want. Come check us out on the DZR Discord. Send us stuff on Twitter. We'd love to start the conversation with you. If you have more thoughts about this show or gear set builds coming up, we'd love to connect with you. Stay involved in the community. Fill out those surveys. Let's make this game the best thing that we can make it. Thanks for being on, Captain and Origami. And listeners, we will see you guys next week.